Hey guys, welcome back to A Little More Light, the podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop, whoop,
That was
whoop.
supposed to come out a lot more like whoop, whoop.
That's good. I'm one of your hosts, Dee.
I am the other better half.
Better half,
Kev.
equal half, Kev.
Equal half.
Yeah, equal. Two equal. We're supposed to be equal in marriage, I think, anyways.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we complement each other.
Yeah.
Welcome back to our little studio for another episode. We are. What's been going on with us lately?
We're home.
We're home, yeah. So if we travel a lot currently in our season of life that we're in right now. We are between countries. I'm in Canada most of the time. Kev is up in Canada a lot of times, but he's American, so he lives farther away. But we are currently waiting for my immigration paperwork. That means a lot of traveling back and forth.
Yep. So U.S. government, if you are watching this, speed up the process.
Please, we beg you. It takes a while. But we're hoping that potentially next year, I think, is the ideal time that I'll get my green card and we'll be able to move and have a house and settle down. Because right now it's just pretty chaotic.
It is, but that's okay.
Yeah, it is okay.
Living in the chaos.
We are. And we are actually, we say chaos, but we are enjoying our time.
We are.
It's just such a unique season of life that we're in, of not really being tied down to any specific place, but we get to travel, we get to see each other. We're quite we both have remote jobs, so it's a little bit flexible in that sense.
It is.
To spend time together, to work together, and do projects like this.
Yeah, this is awesome. And you know what is not, even though we're in, I'm trying to transition us right now, but it's not working.
What are you trying to say, Kev?
I was saying, even despite the fact that we are always on the move,
yeah,
and always moving around and not in the same place at once, that does not equate. That's not a word.
Equate? Yeah, equate's a word, yeah.
No, but I don't know what. Basically, I'm saying, regardless of where we are, we should always still have the book that is in your hand.
Oh, wow.
That was
What a transition.
That was awful.
To that. To our listeners out there, I'm currently holding the best-selling book of all time. Over 80 million copies worldwide have been sold of this book.
Wow.
It is the best-selling book of all time.
And that is?
More copies. Well, I got one more fact.
Oh, sorry.
More copies of this book have been sold than the Beatles have sold records in their entirety. This book has more books. More of these books? I don't know. I'm holding the Bible, guys. This is what this is.
Sounds like you've preached a word on this.
It has. Go check this out. I'll link it below. I've done a message on this. But today what we're going to talk about is something that, could seem very Christian, and it probably is a typical Christian thing to talk about, but it's also just, I think, super informative and super important. And it is what is the Bible? And how to make the Bible seem less intimidating is really what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Let's dive in.
Kev's like, can you please talk more?
No, I mean, it's a book that I think any Christian knows the importance of, but I think every Christian has also gone through a season of time in their lives where it's the book that stays on the shelf.
Yeah.
It's the book that you believe in your heart that you should be reading more. You're convicted to read more.
Yeah.
And yet you don't open it.
That's
Why?
True. Why? Who knows? Because maybe it's intimidating. Some people might think it's outdated. Some people might think, it's not relevant anymore. But I don't see how something that's not relevant can still be the best-selling book of all time.
True. So how do you, I don't even know if you can, but how would you simplify the Bible?
The SparkNotes answer to that, I would say, is the Bible is not just one tiny story. It is a collection of books. Actually, there's 66 books in this Bible, but it is a collection of stories that all point together to tell one unifying story. And so you got the Old Testament, you got the New Testament, you got crazy things happening in both, but all these little stories, characters, literary accounts, poems, poetry, wisdom literature, all this stuff points to one unifying story. And that is the story of Jesus. And that's that's basically what the Bible is. And it is our, like, it's not necessarily like a rule book, but it is a set of principles that we can live by. It is writings from Jesus, it's the teachings of Jesus. And as Christians, we are called to be followers of Jesus, to be disciples of Jesus. And this is basically like our like mandate in
Yeah,
here. If you want to know how to live a godly life, you read this book. If you want to know how to love your spouse, you read this book. If you
that's
want
so
to
true.
know, the way, the truth, and the life, you read this book. If you want to know what heaven is, you read this book.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
Hmm.
like God and His Son Jesus. Like Jesus is our master, our shepherd, our guide,
Yeah.
our companion, our savior, all those things. But to
Hmm.
be a true disciple is to be like an apprentice. And what an
Mm.
apprentice does is like he or she looks very closely at every single step and action that his or her master is taking.
Yeah.
And in this case, like the Bible, because we aren't necessarily in the same time of Jesus, it's our closest connection
Hmm.
to who Jesus was, what he did,
Yeah.
and how we can become more like him.
Oh, exactly. And sometimes people, like, they'll come up to you, usually like skeptics and people who are like, I don't know if I can follow the Bible because it says XYZ. Well, you also have to look at the Bible in the context that it was written,
Mm-hmm.
but there are many principles and ways of living that we can take from this that we can apply to our world today, that are still relevant today.
That's good. So, do you remember when you got your first Bible?
I don't actually. I grew up with a Christian home, so I'm pretty sure I got one of those like kids Bibles.
Mm.
I had one of those little red Bibles too, those little tiny like New Testament Bibles, I
Mm-hmm.
remember. And then it really wasn't until probably I was like mid high school where I started to maybe start like reading it a little bit more and taking notice to it.
Where did you start?
Where did I start reading it? In my room.
No, I meant like where in the Bible did you
Oh,
start?
where in the Bible did I start? Oh, that's so awkward. um Oh, goodness. I don't even know if I could tell you. I probably, honestly, probably what I did was started Googling verses about perseverance, I
Mm-hmm.
think was a big one, verses about courage. And I would find those verses and then I would just read those.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what genuinely what I would do. I love the Psalms. I still love the Psalms today. I think they are a clear depiction of how I process things and my emotions, happy, sad, crazy, crying, good, solid, mad, all those things. But fear of the Lord.
You got that.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
What what about you, Kev? Where did you start?
So I honestly didn't start reading the Bible until I was like 22,
Yeah, that's true.
because in last season, as we kind of talked about our upbringing,
Yeah.
talked about being Roman Catholic,
Mhm.
and while every Sunday, and even in Sunday school and summer camps, you learn Bible stories, you learn it in school,
Mhm.
you have a Bible kind of with you, and honestly, in high school too, I did take a biblical literature class where like we dove in and actually studied the Bible. So
Yeah.
okay, I forget, it was more high school where I
But that was more just like mandated reading.
yeah, it was
This
like
wasn't
man, but
like,
it was like hardcore. Like
yeah,
we're gonna know the both the theology, but also the history and the context and all that
that's
of
cool.
every story, and it was fantastic. But again, I never necessarily after that class took the Bible as a serious, kind of serious
Mhm.
book to
Mhm.
follow. And like I loved my faith, I loved my upbringing, but I think one area where unfortunately it fell
Yeah.
through for me, and I think for a lot of other Catholics too, is that you don't always feel like you have the authority to read the Bible yourself.
Yeah.
You hear it from the pulpit, and you hear it from a priest, especially the gospel, and that
Mhm.
that is where you kind of soak in the Bible.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily always taught or always encouraged for you to then take the Bible with you and read that daily.
Yeah. Okay.
And like I think in my faith, since I came back to Christ and became a Christian, like the Bible is talked about so much more
Yeah.
outside of just the space of the 1 hour that you are at mass.
That's good. And have you found then since pursuing Christ again and stuff, like the days that you don't read the Bible, do you notice a
Oh,
difference?
for
Because I
sure.
for sure
Yeah,
do.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm more irritable. I'm more um maybe anxious. I'm
Yeah.
more I lust after
Uh-huh.
certain things. I am more greedy with my time, with my
Mm.
own resources, with my own treasures. Like I don't necessarily think outside of the objectives that I have to do in that certain moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I think, bad fruit that comes from a day without a Bible.
Yeah, that's true. And it's not just like for people who might be confused, like hearing that statement, it's not just that like, you have to like it's not something so mandated of like, this is you gotta do this, you gotta do that. You have to read for 20 minutes in the morning, you have to wake up early, you have to do all these things. Those things are amazing things to do, which we both would say do them for sure, read this book. But it is out of like the reading the Bible is so life-giving. It's just like what do they call it? They refer to the Holy Spirit as like living water,
Living
rivers of
water.
living water. Like you just genuinely feel refreshed. Like it is such good content, such good just words of life. Like these are the words of Jesus in here. These are the words of God.
Yeah.
And of God, who is the creator of all things, he's created you and I. He has given us his word. Of course we're going to feel that deep inner soul longing and that connection because they're the words from our creator. And they're super helpful. I remember there was a day, it wasn't too long ago. I might have told you this might be new, but I was reading like the verse of the day in the YouVersion Bible app, and the verse of the day was no, actually no, this was in I don't know. Anyways, reading the Bible in the morning, and the verse was make allowance for each other's faults. And that was it. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool, whatever. And then I remember like I was kind of annoyed at something you did. I don't remember what it was. We had like weren't seeing eye to eye or something, or I was like, "Ah, like I just want to get it my way, like whatever. And all of a sudden, this verse just comes right into my head that said, make allowance for each other's faults.
Your fault.
And it's not that you were doing anything wrong. Like it was just something that I didn't want to happen,
Yeah.
or it was your way of doing things. And it was just that verse just came to mind. It's like, make allowance for each other's faults. And I was like, geez, Dee, like, you can let that go. Like, you don't need to bring this up. You
It's
don't need
good.
to have an argument about this. Like, let Kev be Kev. Like, he can do that, and your life is gonna be just fine without having it your way. And kid you not, I probably would have made a comment if I had not read that
You
verse in
for
the
sure
morning.
wouldn't.
I for sure would have. Yeah, but anyways, what how would I say, like, do you have a favorite book in the Bible? Would you say? Does it change?
It probably
Is it?
changes on like the time in my life, or
Mhm.
even just how, like, there's a difference obviously between just reading the Bible just to read it and then
Mhm.
letting it like soak and saturate
Yeah.
your every crack of your life, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like, so I think there it's depending on um how I'm doing personally with my relationship with God and
Mm.
with the Bible. I've always, I think, loved James.
Mhm.
I think it's just very practical and to the point.
For sure, totally
Um,
is.
and so that has always been fantastic.
Mhm.
My butt's vibrating.
Hear your phone ringing.
Dude. Um,
Anyways.
anyways, uh, but like I think for me, when I first started reading the Bible again, I just dove right into the Gospels.
Mm.
So like Mark has always been kind of my go-to, like when I need to center myself again,
Yeah.
just on the teachings of Jesus and
Awesome.
kind of what he did. So I would say just the Gospels are
Mhm.
so fruitful.
They're a perfect place for a new believer to start.
Yeah, that's honestly the perfect spot.
Yeah.
And I would second that. It's crazy. Like we're in our church right now. We're going through the book of Revelations,
Revelation.
like book by book, and I've never even read
Chapter by chapter, yeah.
chapter by chapter. Never even read like a single chapter of Revelation. So it's wild just what's still out there to be learned
Yeah.
and heard, and it's like the ocean, right? We only know like 30% of the creatures or whatever in the
That's
ocean.
wild.
And so like I believe there's always something more to learn
Mhm.
in the Bible. Like the Bible is just the gigantic ocean.
For sure. Well, and it's like God's word that says in the Bible is alive and active,
That's
and
true.
it's sharper than a two-edged sword. And so something that is alive and active, it is going to present itself differently in
Yeah,
different seasons of life too. And so like you could read a scripture when like you are going through it, like you're neck deep in the mud, you're just having a day, and it's going to hit a certain way. You could read that scripture when life is going well, and it's going to be like a different
that's
message,
true.
same verse. And so that's what's so great about the word of God, is that it is constantly, refreshing you, that the same scripture that was written thousands of years ago can still be relevant to different aspects of your life and different seasons of life too.
Yeah,
Like I that's so good.
yeah,
Hmm.
that is really true. Do you have a specific story you like most in the Bible?
I don't know necessarily if I have that specific story. I think I just I love the life of David.
I was gonna
Um,
go there. Yeah.
yeah, and it just how God just doesn't waste a thing, and it's just such a great reminder, I think, for us, like especially someone who loves to, pursue goals, and I've had big dreams in the past, and I've had like, desires to accomplish things, and I've
Mm-hmm.
also had a lot of really crappy stuff happen, and just like tough life things, and so knowing and seeing the story of David, who's a man after God's own heart, who um doesn't have any part of his life wasted. Like
Yeah.
everything is used. Like his sins, he learns from them. His failures, he learns from them, and God
Yeah.
uses them. But God also uses like the hard parts of his life
For sure.
and the seasons where he's in obscurity. So before he receives like the promises of God, God sees him through that. He's teaching him things. David was a shepherd before he slayed Goliath, so he learns how to tend things. He knows how to use a slingshot, like all that stuff. I just love that story of how God doesn't waste parts of your life,
That's really good.
and people need to hear that.
Yeah, David's got influence.
And I think too, just like influence last episode or a couple episodes ago, however many it is now. But I think too, just like this story is of the Bible. There's so many stories in there, and the craziest, like the good news about the Bible is
Mm-hmm.
obviously Jesus, and that He's saved us. He died, He rose again. We have eternal life in heaven. But that your story plays a part in this greater story.
Yeah,
And I think that's just so encouraging,
that is.
especially because I just may just say this, like, I think people just want to belong, and
Mm.
they want their life to matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like you want what you're doing to matter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's just like, your story plays a part in this big story, and eventually, like, you get to be in the greatest story ever told.
That is really true, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're a chapter.
You are a chapter, and you're an important chapter. Your chapter matters, and it's how's that chapter gonna play out. That's up to your decisions, how you want to live, and just the journey that you let God take you on.
Mm-hmm.
Because we also don't really get a say a lot of times in what happens.
No, we don't.
No,
We have decisions and choices, but
but then at the end of the day, God is God, and we are not. Hey.
it,
Yeah. So, anyways, we love the Bible, but Kev, what would you say to someone who is new to Christianity, who is just trying to start reading the Bible? Like, what would you say to them?
like as a encouragement.
Yeah, as an encouragement. Yeah, we're all about encouraging here.
I don't like as someone who's just starting out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
With the number of names, the number of places, the number of locations. But know in each and every detail that is put in the Bible, it's put in there for a specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
It has a purpose. So, like if you see every detail as a part of God and a part
Mm-hmm.
of His craft and a part of how He is molding, kind of this earth
Yeah.
and this world, like it can be an exciting thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love like diving into external resources when I read, so like
Oh yeah.
commentaries and things like that. So make the Bible fun. I mean, there's the Bible Project, there's
YouVersion Bible app's
YouVersion
great.
Bible app. There's
Yeah.
so many ways to read.
Mm-hmm.
So just don't feel like you're limited to one way.
Mm-hmm.
And also like journal when you read the Bible.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I think when you are able to process what you're reading and then
Mhm.
also put it into your own words
Yeah.
and into your own feelings and thoughts, you're not only going to be not only going to remember it more, you'll also, I think, be able to apply a lot more to your own life.
Yeah.
And honestly, too, like, don't try. I'm going on the application. Don't try to apply every single story to your own life at the same
Oh,
time.
that's good. Yeah.
Like, just read the Bible to read the Bible. It's a story at the end of the day, too. So, like, enjoy the story. Don't see that, when David, or when one of David's servants, like, picks up the covenant, the Ark of the Covenant, in the wrong way, and then God automatically, like, strikes him down and kills him.
Yeah.
Like, don't see it that, like, today, if you do something bad, you're gonna be killed.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
And like I think to that, it's like someone said, like the Bible is not written to us, but it's written for us. And so a lot of these things aren't about us. Like it points to Jesus, points to God's sovereignty,
That's
points to
good.
God, his saving grace, his judgment, his peace, his salvation, all this stuff. But it is written for us to learn more, to grow more, to have as like a rule of life. I think John Mark Comer says
Yeah, he's
says
all about
that. And so it's like, yeah, that's a really good point to keep that. Oh man, all right.
All right. Well, Dee was in the middle of something probably really good, and our battery just died out on us. So
Yeah, we're still learning our little
we need a
yeah.
bigger battery source.
We do. I think like an external
The
battery.
biggest battery source that we can go to is the
Word of the Lord.
We're back.
We're back. Okay, so I was just recapping, but basically, if you are skeptical of the Bible, if you are new, if you're like, you know what, where do I start? How do I even believe this thing? Like, there are eyewitness testimonies of the life of Jesus, and all you got to know is that Jesus came to earth. He died for you.
Well, he lived first.
He lived first. He died. He rose again, and you can have eternal life with him in heaven. That the life of Jesus was foretold in Scripture. That all these stories in the Bible lead to this one big overarching story that you and I all get to play a part of. You don't have to understand everything. You just got to understand that thing, that Jesus loved you enough to come and save you. And you can give your life to him, and he will radically transform your life. It might not get easier, but it will get 1,000,000 times better for eternity.
Boom.
Boom, boom. Okay, guys. So that's our little preachy little podcast today.
Simplifying the Bible.
Simplifying the Bible. We love it. Thank you guys for listening again. Be sure to comment some suggestions on what you'd like to hear.
Yeah.
If you need clarity on anything,
please
comment below.
Ask.
Yeah, ask away.
Comment.
No such thing as a bad question when
Share.
it comes to more awareness.
Exactly.
And learning. We're all on a journey anyways. And so thank you for joining us on ours. And Kev, you want to sign us out?
Until next time.
Nice. All right. See you guys.
See ya.